Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to day 10 of a 20-day series of putting some tips to community clubs to make them healthy around the country. My name is Terry Dillon. I work for Terry Dillon Solutions, and we're helping over 500 clubs and growing around the country. We're in 12 sports and also growing, and look forward to a session today that we're going to focus on revenue. It's been a very busy week this week. Run a number of workshops around the country, which has been terrific, focused on revenue. Those that have watched the last couple of days, you would have seen the final proceedings of a couple of those workshops. But I want to go through revenue, which is obviously one of the two greatest challenges that clubs have. And probably the first greatest challenge is your people. Getting the number of volunteers that help your community club. And what we've found in all sports is that the revenue model at community level and even at the second tier level hasn't changed in 30 to 40 years. That is the pressure point for clubs, and basically that's why they're starting to have, the world is changing, so you need to adopt a new age revenue model. So you would have, when I worked with the number of clubs this week, we identified 30 new initiatives around the country, and at each of those workshops, we chose 4 or 5 initiatives where they can generate an additional 70 to 100 grand. Now, it's all relative to the particular sport, but applies to all sports. Typically, if basically the revenue model for clubs is as follows. They typically have a bit of money from canteen. They typically have some money through the bar. They might have some fixed signage. They might actually have some player sponsors. For some sports, you may have some revenue through the gate. You also have some revenue through registrations or memberships. And most clubs typically have 5 to 6 fundraisers, and they may sell 1 or 2 branding assets. So they might be on a singlet or a jumper or polo, and that's pretty much their revenue model. That has not changed since the 1970s. So what we do, we identify new initiatives in terms, I suppose, bringing my AFL knowledge and working at the high end of town for nearly 2 decades. And we've identified 30 initiatives, and we literally at each workshop walk through each of those initiatives, and the club picks out each initiative that suits their circumstance. And the revenue model has evolved. Basically the old model doesn't work. We find that I'm steering a lot of my clubs away from fundraising and putting more focus into membership and sponsorship. And there's some really clean and defined initiatives that can really make a difference to your club. Basically, we're making a huge difference to community clubs. And if I said to you, let's bring in, I talked about that allowance, that $14,000 allowance. If you had 2 or 3 people that can actually be paid by the federal government to actually go out and help sell your revenue, could sell some of your initiatives that we identify as part of the 30. So volunteers are obviously a pressure point, revenue is a pressure point. We give you the new initiative. So actually, if you go on, I'll actually post on this post. If you wish to make an appointment with me for 20 minutes, you can do so. I'll set some time available next week, excuse me, and it'll really open your eyes. And look, I think the clubs that attended the workshops in the last 3 days is a great example. If they want to post something terrific, but in terms of how simple it is, they walked out. I feel so privileged to work in this space, in that when we walk, literally people, some people that are down and think how they're going to pay their bills, they walk out of this session with renewed hope, renewed energy, and a clear pathway to take them forward. And that's the strength of our workshops. And at the end of each workshop, we give them a 2-page strategic plan, and they get access to us for 12 months, which is terrific. So then I suppose the key point today is about people, which we've talked about how we help you with that. It's about, importantly, revenue. Typically, most clubs know what their expenses are going to be, but they don't know what their revenue, or they have targets sometimes. Look, sometimes they don't have targets. More clubs than not do not even have a basic budget, which is, they are literally flying by the seat of their pants. So we bring some structure to the club. We provide all the templates, and we've got some great initiatives. If you wish to have a general chat about what we do, feel free to lock in a calendar appointment to speak to me for 20 minutes. So we've had it's been a terrific week. We've got another busy week next week. Our book will be out in 2 weeks' time. Check out, for those clubs that wish to learn a little bit more about themselves, go and do a free health check on our website, tdcommunitysolutions.com.au. Takes about 10 minutes. We'll come back to you with a one-page summary of where your club sits. Also, go onto our Facebook page. There's a heap of free content, lots of tips. This is day 10 of 21. I'm not quite at the home stretch yet, but we're at the halfway mark. Thank you for your time. As again, we're very privileged to work in this space in terms of making a real difference. Seen some terrific people this week for some arch enemies that I've been involved with for a number of years. Hopefully I walked out with, may have played a bit of sport against the teams that were involved with this year, but previously, but that we met with this week. So it was a really, really positive week. Take care. Have a great weekend, and we'll touch base again hopefully tomorrow. Cheers.